Hello, hello.
Hey, people.
Hmm? Okay.
Sorry, just ruining your intro.
Alright, sounds good. But anyway, hey everyone, and welcome back to some Zelda 3, where or Zelda 2, sorry, we're on part 3. I'm tired. And,
No, you're not tired, you're excited to get to A Link to the Past.
oh yeah, just so excited. But, we just finished up with the town. We learned the, up stab, which is going to be useful and fantastic. Fucking Octoroks. So, we're just gonna be, dealing with the next dungeon coming up, and what else is there? We might even, get to another dungeon. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I recorded this footage.
How many times have you played this game?
How many times have I played it?
Yes.
I think through and through, probably, like, maybe somewhere between 3 and 5 times. I mean, like I said, it's a fun game, I enjoy it, it's just, it is one of those games where it's like, it is, that old NES, style of confusing, so, you do need a guide for it.
It was a marvelous time.
Yeah.
When kids did not have Netflix and the internet.
Or TikTok. TikTok was... trying to resurrect Vine was a mistake. Oh, something about the hammer weapon that we got that we can use in the overworld to break blocks. Another thing you can do is that you can break forced tiles as well with it. So
I do recall like a long time ago, I've seen, for example, criticisms that people make for games like Twilight Princess when like a few years, about a decade ago. It's like, oh, you barely use the items you get in the overworld, and like, you know, it's like they're talking about items like the ball and chain, the spinner, and I was thinking just, dude, have you been paying attention to this series at all in the past 20 years?
I will admit that is a criticism that I will say is like, yeah, that's true of Twilight Princess. I like the only times that you use the spinner, for example, that I can think of is like if you find like one of those random like little holes to shove it in, and then you just mash the B button over and over again just to get it to open.
Yeah, that is in dungeons mainly. You use in dungeons a lot, but like in the overworld, you do use it to get items. Honestly, I'd say probably more than even the hammer on Link to the Past.
Okay.
Ocarina. But yeah, it's always a criticism that I found silly because I don't know. It seems to be to me that it was in the same proportion as the items in the old games. But like, thinking it just seems like to me like a criticism from people who haven't been paying attention to this series for like a while. And you know, the way the sprites flicker, it does look like you just decapitated one of the creatures there with fire.
Yeah. Those were the Dodongos, by the way, the little lizard ones. So we've upgraded from bombs to shooting flames at them.
There's no bombs in this game, right?
No bombs. Closest that we have to something that works like a bomb is the
wow, that hitbox was nonsense.
Yeah. Closest we have to bombs is like the hammer to break open like cave entrances.
Do you get a level up before the next dungeon?
Maybe not before, but like maybe like a few steps into the next dungeon, I would say. But, let's see here. But yeah, it did disappoint me in Twilight Princess that you get the ball and chain, which is like a really fucking fun weapon to use, and you don't really use it outside of the dungeon. I think there's only like one point in when you're assaulting a Hyrule Castle that you use it, and that's basically it.
Use it against enemies though. Like it's not a. It's just like a ball and chain is not an item that is very good for puzzle solving, really, because there isn't that much puzzle you can do with it. But you can use against enemies, so I think that's really on the player.
Yeah. But I would say that here's the thing that I mentioned, that sometimes you get potions, but sometimes it could be an enemy.
What a sneaky bastard.
Yeah. I would say that is true. It is on the player to use it against enemies, but even then, I think in the dungeon there was like a bunch of times where it's like, oh, you need the ball and chain to smash ice, right? So
yeah, but that's expected from the dungeon you get the item on.
Mm-hmm. But you know, they could have done it there. Anyway, the Wizrobes are annoying in this one because you have to use Reflect to kill them.
Are you sure those are not Grand Wizards?
Well, they were always Grand Wizards, you see. And here, I think I'm deciding whether I should... I went with the option to wait. Because we're so close to fully leveling up our life.
Are these Stalfos?
Yeah, those are the Stalfos, and they are the easier enemies with the Sword and Shield to beat because they don't ever block their legs. So you can just consistently just try and swipe their kneecaps. The only annoying thing is that they do jump and they do the down stab, so... And for those of you wondering what I'm doing, this is about the point in the game where they start introducing invisible walls. So, I'm just checking for them. And I think they do something pretty sneaky here where... yeah, once you turn into a fairy, you can't actually go back to being Link. You have to leave the screen. So there is a point in this game. It might be in this dungeon, it might be in a different dungeon. But you turn into a fairy and you fly over a key. And you have to leave the screen, then come back to grab the key. Because you can't grab anything as a fairy.
I do love when the enemies commit suicide.
It's great.
Why would you do this? Why would you do this?
I thought I had enough time to try and stab him a few times to get some space. Also, I don't think I learned about the reflect trick until a bit later.
You still have one more life dot to grab, right?
Yep, I have one more life, so we should be fine.
No, one more heart container.
Oh yeah, a heart container, yes, but we are fully maxed out on leveling up life.
You're an accomplished guy. You've done everything you want in your lifetime. You're going out with no regrets.
Yeah, I bought a house and got married. That's pretty much all I want out of life.
Yeah, but I mean, buying a house in Canada right now, it's pretty amazing feat. Like,
yeah, it really is. Like, the only place I can think of that's in a developed country where the housing market isn't completely fucked beyond belief is Japan. But anyway, we got our booties. And these boots allow us to walk on water.
Blasphemous!
Sorry, what?
Blasphemous.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, like, blasphemous, I've been watching some of the EFAPs lately, and I got to the episode where they were talking about the Doctor Strange 2. And, I am actually quite amazed that movie got made the way that it did.
You mean the...
Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, that movie was... god-awful.
Yeah, but no, it was amazing because the guy who wrote it was the same guy who wrote Loki. And,
Oh, what a surprise.
yeah, but no, not only does he contradict himself with what the rules that he set up for Loki, but he actually goes so far as to say in Multiverse of Madness that, like in the behind the scenes, he was like, yeah, so we were 2/3 of shooting through the movie, and I didn't write Act 3, and I was like, oh man, something's gotta happen, what do I do?
We are nearly ending the completion of the movie, and I haven't done my job.
Yeah, and, like, it was definitely one of those things where Sam Raimi, like, he tried to have some fun, like, doing the old, Evil Dead stuff. Like, there were some scenes where you know, he's trying to have some fun, right? But he's really being hampered with what he can and can't do. And, like, a good point was that, it's a shame that Sam Raimi's name is tied to this, and it's like forever tainted, so to speak, because like you barely get to see his style show through in that movie.
I mean, Sam Raimi should be more ashamed of having done Drag Me to Hell.
I haven't seen Drag Me to Hell, but the only thing that I really know about it is that, well, it doesn't end well. That's about it.
It's a disgusting ending. Like, it's genuinely evil.
But yeah, that is a movie I do need to see. What other Sam Raimi movies have you seen?
I mean, if there is a movie that makes me want to make Sam Raimi experience physical pain, it's Drag Me to Hell. You know, one of those things, like, I never seen the movie, but I know what happens in it, and I just wish I could, I didn't have that in my memory. A genuinely despicable movie, in my opinion.
Oh, I see how it is. When Bruce Campbell gets puked on and, like, tortured by evil spirits from hell, it's fine. But when a woman has that happen to her, oh man, suddenly it's a problem.
Yes, believe all women.
But, I think you posted about something about Wizard of Oz and in like the Discord chat, and one of the movies that I saw from Sam Raimi was the Wizard of Oz movie that he did. Have you seen that or no?
No.
Okay. I actually did enjoy it for the most part. I know there's a lot of people out there that were like, oh man, this was like the most god-awful fucking thing in existence, but I was like, yeah.
I have no recollection of it. I didn't even know Sam Raimi had made a Wizard of Oz movie, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a prequel, and it's talked about how the wizard got to Oz, I should say. And it sort of explains how the Wicked Witch of the West actually became the Wicked Witch of the West. And, like, things like that.
Was it the fault of a man?
I'm actually not 100% sure. It's like, I haven't seen the movie since it was out in theaters, but I think Oz did have a small part to play in it. It was mostly like the whole, like, he was a deceptive kind of guy, like he was in the original movie, so. But it wasn't like so much so that it was like, oh yeah, Oz told like one lie, and all of a sudden she became a fucking a cunt. It was more like it was like a series of lies and like some other events that happened. So
he got her hooked in a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a very fucking long time, but I think the one of the things that made it so that I kind of liked the movie, but maybe at the time I wasn't too critical of the whole like SJW sort of influence on movies and shit, so I didn't really notice it at the time, if there were any. But yeah, from what I remember, I enjoyed that movie. What other stuff did Sam Raimi did besides the obvious Spider-Mans and Evil Deads? Because I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
I can't recall myself either.
Okay.
I don't know if he has done anything recently. Like, what has done recently?
The only thing he's done recently was that fucking Doctor Strange movie. And even then, I would say he did it in quotations, because that, like I said, that was a movie that's mostly studio interference shit.
Which one isn't Ryan nowadays? Like, studios are in a point nowadays where they don't even, like, they cast directors. Like, the director isn't a creative force anymore. He's just there to say action.
No, it's not. He's there anymore to say action. It's she's there to say action. Like, you know that, right?
Sam, why are you bringing that up? Okay, you're making.
What?
You're putting words in my mouth, and I don't appreciate that.
How did I put words in your mouth? I just said I just corrected you, saying it's not so much that they direct or they cast male directors; it's that they cast female directors now.
But it has become a problem in general, where like studio just hires the directors to say action, and then like everything, and then like there's no creative input anymore. Like the director is just there to put the name on the IMDb page, and
yeah, it's a real shame, but
the ones really in how things go are the producers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you die again?
I got a game over, yes, that's why my experience went away.
No, the screen froze for a few seconds here.
No, I live.
My house was not bombed by the Canadian government.
Yes.
I assure you.
Let's see.
Can you get him to commit suicide?
Oh yeah, probably. Like, you do push back enemies if you hit their shield, so if you do that enough times, you can push them in the lava. But, yeah, I think the thing that really pisses me off, though, about a lot of these newer, like, Marvel movies and stuff is that, they're all taking a page from Joss Whedon's writing book, and I absolutely despise fucking Joss Whedon's writing style. You know, that whole idea where it's like, it doesn't matter what you...
That is just because you don't have a sense of humor.
No, I have a sense of humor. I can take a joke. It's just that it's one of those things where it's like Joss Whedon, I think there's a quote by him that says, like, you can be, like, dramatic and have all that shit, but for the love of God, put a joke in there. And it's like, no, you don't need to put a joke in fucking everything. You can let the scene sit as is.
Yeah. I imagine a movie like Downfall. Imagine a movie like Downfall. Right after Goebbels' wife poisons all of her children, you know, and then they just I imagine that, like, as soon as she comes out of the bedroom, Goble just throws a joke. Haha, I guess we don't have to put them to sleep early anymore.
I haven't seen Downfall, so... And I can't beat this boss because I didn't have enough magic to cast Reflect. Feels bad.
You do know about that event, right? Goble's wife killed her children.
I mean, there's a bunch of women who are disgusting like that.
Yeah.
One around here in Canada is Carla Homolka, which she's a horrible fucking cunt of a human being, but you know, she managed to play the legal system here and got away with murder, literally.
What did she do?
Long story short, she basically fell in love with a guy who was like a fucking psychopath and managed to convince her, oh hey, you have like your 2 sisters and like there's a few other women. Let's just go out and like kidnap them, brutally beat them, and then chop up their bodies, put it into like a barrel and dump it in the river kind of thing. And then they eventually got caught. I think they did it to like 4 women. 2 of them were Carla's sisters. And while they were in court, the police were having problems trying to collect the evidence that they needed to basically block them all away. So Carla made a plea deal saying, I will say everything that's happened. Just give me a deal. So instead of serving a life sentence, I can serve 10 years or something like that. And the judge said, yeah, okay, sure. And it turns out the reason that the police had problems finding evidence was that the main bit of evidence that they were looking for was that Carla Homolka and her boyfriend, what they did was that they actually recorded all the footage, and the police were having problems finding it. And the reason the police had problems finding it was because Carla's lawyer snuck into her house and actually hid the evidence to attempt to get like this plea deal going.
Was he ever? Did the lawyer ever face consequences for that?
I'm not 100% sure. I just know that because the lawyer did it, the police didn't get the evidence that they needed to convict her. So she got away with that plea deal, and because of how laws in Canada's work, you can't try somebody for the same crime twice. So they couldn't be like, oh, we found new evidence, so therefore we're reopening the case and gonna throw you in prison now. So the deal of that she got was what she got. So she served her sentence, and last anyone has heard of her, she changed her name and fucked off to Quebec.
Of course, it's Quebec. The most embarrassing part of an embarrassing country.
Yeah, so...
You know what's worse than Quebec?
France?
No, Canadians from other provinces who worship Quebec. Who simp for Quebec. That is the worst in Quebec. Yeah.
That's something you're gonna have to show me, like, some evidence for, because from what I can tell, most people in Canada are like, yeah, Quebec is fucking annoying and no one likes them.
Can we just give them independence already so we don't have to put up with it?
I mean, that's more or less, that's actually like not too far off from the truth. Like, every time Quebec sort of demands that they deserve independence from the rest of the nation, I'm like, good, fucking give it to them. The only downside is that it's going to be a bit annoying to get from Ontario to like Nunavut. Or not Nunavut, fucking Nova Scotia.
They will know what Alaskans feel like.
No, but that's like really the only downside because, if you actually look into like what a lot of Quebec wants, essentially they want independence, but all the benefits that being part of Canada still has. So like they still want the trade routes open, they still want the trade to happen, and all this other bullshit. And it's like, no, that's not how that works.
By the way, explanation of what I was mentioning before, the downfall thing. Goebbels' wife, basically as things in the bunker were going downhill, and they pretty much understood that the Nazi regime was falling, and then Hitler decided to kill himself. Goebbels' wife didn't want her children to live in a world without the Nazi regime, the Nazi ideology, and she basically put her children to sleep and poisoned them.
Yeah. Well... Women! Well, yeah, I can't remember where I heard it, but it was sort of like, someone... I remember, I think it was like an assassin or something, who was like, I don't use poisons, because that's a woman's weapon. Oh, and here's that thing that I mentioned where it's like, yeah, you need to leave the screen as a fairy, then come back to grab the key.
It's one of those silly fiction things. You see a lot in movies, like they make it to like women using bows, because bows are supposed it's like it's a weapon that doesn't require as much strength as a sword. No, it
actually requires
more.
an incredible amount of strength. But I actually asked my dad, like, oh, why is it that women are always using like bows and stuff? And I think what it is that it's a symbolism thing. So it's more along the lines of, the woman is like may not be physically powerful, but more like powerful in the sense of like determination and things like that, so is able to do it, you know?
I don't know exactly how that ties with you having the bow as a weapon, but okay.
Well, it's like inner strength as opposed to physical strength, you know?
It still doesn't make much sense because, I don't know. It's a thing that only makes sense if you actually go by fiction logic and have no idea actually how hard it is to shoot a bow.
Yeah, like I know that it doesn't make sense like in reality, but I think that's what it is in the symbolism and sort of thing. Which is one of the reasons why I don't like symbolism. I think symbolism is a kind of poopy. I guess to better equate my point, symbolism is basically the art that anything on can mean anything, and so it's almost like, okay, so there's like barely any point to anything, you know? And the example that I usually give is, you know, what does a black cat symbolize?
Adorable, an adorable breed.
Yeah, it's very adorable. I like the way black cats look, and they have very silky fur, but more specifically, like, what does it mean, like in the West, for example?
If you're asking me about the origin of the myth, I have no idea.
Okay. So black cats over here represent bad luck. So if they walk in front of your path, it's bad luck.
I mean, it's the same thing most places.
Not in China. They're a symbol of good luck.
Good, the Chinese got something right.
So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so we have two cases of symbolism that don't even correspond to one another. So who's right? So that's kind of my example of like why I find symbolism to be kind of like nonsense. It's just because shit can mean anything based on the context of it.
Well, not usually. Like there is usually there's a tradition behind a certain symbolism.
Well,
it's not decided at random.
Well, but that's the thing, yeah, there's a certain traditionalism behind it, but like I said, that was a good example that I gave, was like, what does a black cat symbolize? Well, it means bad luck, but also good luck, so they both can't possibly be true at the same time.
Good luck for the Chinese, who grew up in a cultural context completely different from Western Europe. And Eastern Europe, really. I don't know what's the vision of black cats in Eastern Europe, never asked.
Yeah, but like that's my issue with it is also the idea that like a lot of people in especially like in the YouTube essay world, they'll come up with like these radical fucking ideas as to like, oh yeah, this is the symbolism of what this scene means, and it's like, are you fucking out of your mind? It's just like, it is what it is. Like, where did you get all this symbolism bullshit from?
Yes. The symbolism on comedian's attempted rape of Spectre's mother is an analogy for the desecration of the American dreams in the eyes of modern capitalists. No, it's because he's a degenerate. Because Alan Moore is a degenerate who loves rape in fiction. That's the thing I heard about. I never checked because I didn't read them. I didn't read anything else from Alan Moore. But apparently he can't go without putting rape in his stories.
Yeah, for the most part, that's true. There's also,
there's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Like, I have pretty much all of his stuff, and there's usually, if it's not rape, there's usually some weird thing involving, like, sex. Like a very weird idea or outlook on it. Like, there's a book series or a comic series that I did called Promethea, which was essentially him sort of explaining how his religion works. And there's a bit of a weird thing involving that where I think whatever Alan Moore classifies as a religion that he follows can be easily explained by eating mushrooms. Yeah, but
the bad kind.
Like the way that like obviously sex does play a role in Alan Moore's sort of Wiccan religion, but what it is sort of like the way that it's set up in Promethea is that
wow.
Yeah, hold on.
We're almost about to get. Oh my lord!
Yeah, these bonefish are really giving me a hard time. No, but the way that in Promethea, how it works is that, there is... Whoops. I don't even know how the fuck that happened, but there we go.
Because he refused to use jump to just get away from it.
Yeah, but it was... Like, I didn't do a down stab. Like, how the fuck did I break the block below me? Yeah, go eat shit.
I'm just the first mistake that wasn't even your mistake. Like your first mistake was not just getting out of there in the first place. As soon as you killed the Iron Knuckle, just leave.
Yeah. But anyway,
use the jump spell and jump away from the bonefish.
Yeah, but anyway, going back to Promethea, how that story is set up is that... Sorry. Hmm?
For a second I thought you were gonna say going back to rape.
Well, I was explaining the weird sex stuff that happens in that book.
Mm-hmm.
So, how the story works is that, throughout all of history, there have been these powerful sort of women who can channel essentially the magic power of this woman named Promethea. And essentially how it works is that these women sort of retain their personality, but become Promethea at the same time. So throughout the story, how it works is sort of like the main character as Promethea has to basically learn who Promethea is and sort of go about learning how magic works. But one of the things that she has to learn is how sex plays into magic. And the thing that gets into the weird concept is that the main character transforms into Promethea to have sex with like a grand master wizard kind of thing. And her original form does not really remember having sex, but Promethea does. So that just kind of raises the question, like, is that count as rape?
The goddess of date rape.
Yeah. So it's sort of explained in the book that at least the main character is okay with it, because she was kind of aware of the idea that like this was something that had to be done to learn about magic, right? Or at least Promethea had to learn about magic. But so she knew that she had sex, but not really. So that just raises a whole huge can of worms of like how that all works. But then Alan Moore kind of doubles down on it in the same story. Because it turns out that one of the Promethea that existed in history was during the 1950s. And what was interesting about this Promethea was that the person who channeled Promethea was actually a man. And the man was...
And he got done in the bum.
Kind of. So what happened was that this man was actually a gay man who fell in love with a straight man, but the straight man fell in love with Promethea. And then it's like, okay, now that just raised a bigger can of fucking worms, because it was never actually explained to the straight man that the woman that he loved was actually a man kind of thing, right?
I think all of the stories are just an excuse. I think all of the Alan Moore's supposed religion is just an excuse for being a coomer.
So there's that, and it actually goes so far to basically say in the story that the straight man actually ended up going crazy and having to be put into an asylum because he couldn't handle the fact that basically the love of his life was actually a man kind of thing.
Ugh.
So, I would say that at least it's not.
If only someone had told him about no homo.
Yeah, it's only gay if you take it in the butt or if the balls touch. So he was safe.
He could, bro. You could have just said no homo. It would be all right.
Yeah, everybody knows you can be as gay as humanly possible. You just say no homo, and then it's all either ironic or you're just doing it as a term of endearment.
I recall there is this meme about certain 4chan posts that is like, "Be me, not gay," and then comes like, the most aggressively homosexual story ever told in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
And it ends with a guy saying, "Am I gay?"
Yeah, I think my favorite one is the whole meme of the guy who looks like really fucking pissed off and is like, "You break into my home, suck my dick, call me gay." But yeah, as much as I do like Alan Moore, yeah, he is weird, so. And for those wondering why I like him, admittedly, I did read him back in high school, but it was also... He does write good stories, he's just that he kind of goes off onto weird tangents and shit.
It just he also happens to be a disgusting person. A disgusting person with disgusting ideas.
Yeah. I think it's more along the lines that I can look past the whole, like... Sure,
Being
the
an
artist is
unwashed
fucking...
communist.
Like, I can look past the whole... The artist is fucking weird, but I like the art that he creates, so...
I can look past the fact that the artist here is an unwashed Bolshevik.
Look, I don't know what his bathing habits are, so I can't comment on that.
You did hit the sweet spot on that one, didn't you? Killing that guy, killing that skull.
I'm telling you, downstab is fucking amazing in this game.
It's pretty good in Super Smash Bros. Too.
Yeah, because, like, they kept the whole combo thing that you can do with it in that game as well. Oh, how good are you at, the Smash Brothers games?
I've only played Melee.
Okay.
And, my GameCube has not seen light in a while. Which, it's a shame, because... sometimes I really get the urge to play GameCube again.
Yeah, you should play Eternal Darkness so I can do a Let's Play of it, so you don't have to act like a big fucking baby about me playing it before you play it.
Can you actually give me like some? I don't know. Can you lend me some money, some of that Canadian money? I mean, I know it's funny because it's monopoly colored, but it's probably better than Brazilian currency right now.
Yeah, I'll send you $1 and that'll be enough to afford your
Buy
rent
a
for the
copy
month.
of it. Probably enough to buy a copy of Eternal Darkness.
Sealed.
Yeah. Not a joke, probably is. Sealed copies of Eternal Darkness go for a pretty nasty penny here.
Yeah, well, that's partially because, like, one of the other things I've been watching lately is the Carl Jobst videos. And I was catching up on, like, more of the intricate details of the completionist scandal. But also, he talked about a few other things, and one of the things I caught was how the gaming market has been manipulated, so that way copies of games, and especially sealed copies of games, have been artificially inflated.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah. But,
I mean, in the past 10 years, I noticed that it was a thing like begin 10 years ago here when price of retro gaming skyrocketed. Like in, it was fine, like, up to 2013 it was alright, and then, like, it went crazy.
Yeah, I will admit that one of the things that caused it to explode the way that it did was because of, people like the Angry Video Game Nerd, for example. Because of him doing reviews, people got interested in retro gaming again, so they bought games. That in and of itself is okay, because that's sort of like a more natural form of, like, inflation. Or, you know?
Yeah.
But the problem is that the people who artificially inflated it aren't actually gamers, and I'm not doing that as like a gatekeeping thing. Like these people who did it, they have never fucking opened a game ever, kind of thing, and put it into a system and like sat down and played it. And if they did, would be something like Farmville or Tetris or some shit.
Yeah, they just buy to take advantage of the bubble.
Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what happened. They just bought games and then opened up companies to, quote, grade the games, unquote, and then just sort of said, oh yeah, this sealed copy of the original Super Mario Brothers, this is worth like $10 billion. Totally. Trust me.
Soon enough, the only retro gamer on the planet is gonna be Elon Musk.
Yeah, but there was a detail that I noticed of one of the guys who artificially inflated things. he said that he got the idea when he visited his brother during Passover, and I was like, wait a minute. And then there was a scene of him showing off his sealed game collection, and he's wearing, the tiny hats, and it's like, oh no, come on.
No! Oh no!
It's like... It's like, come on, like, you had to go with the fucking honest merchant meme, like, Jesus Christ.
No, a happy merchant.
I thought it was the honest merchant.
Yeah, it's the happy merchant.
No, okay. Well, either way, he had to, do
The joke is that he's happy because he's not honest.
Yeah. But no, it's the, it's just one of those things where it's just like, come on, like, there's this negative stereotype, and you have to go for it hook, line, and sinker. Like, you couldn't help yourself, like, fuck.
You just have to give them ammo! Come on!
Yeah, and that's one of the people who artificially inflated the market, so congrats.
Oh, goodness gracious. There was a stream recently about Ben Shapiro playing a game, or he actually played a video game.
Yeah, I don't know about Ben Shapiro, but I have heard about, what's his name, Conan?
Conan O'Brien. No, yeah, Conan has the Clueless Gamers series.
Yeah, and like, I think there was a
is...
clip of him, like, flat out stating, like, it's been like 30 minutes and I haven't pushed a button yet. Like, is this what gaming is these days?
Yeah. It was, I think it was one of the new God of War games. It's like, we haven't done any of this! Like, we haven't touched the controller in 30 minutes! Yeah, but the whole point of really of the Clueless Gaming thing is the fact that he isn't a gamer.
He isn't a gamer. I can understand that, and he's sort of like learning how to play video games from like his co-host that's there, because he's a massive gamer or something like that. Like, that's fine. Like, I understand it. Like, he's upfront about it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it is the joke of the segment, so... So it would be weird if he wasn't upfront about it. And,
well, that's the thing. There's a lot of people
here, right?
in the gaming community who aren't upfront about a lot of things that they should be.
You probably should use that again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, but I also need a key, so I need enough for jump, so...
See, best you listen to me. Why can't current you listen?
Cause current me has learned that listening to you is usually a bad thing.
Hey, I'm not the one who keeps pushing to watch The Fanatic.
Look, man,
And I got you to watch Who Killed Captain Alex. So I would appreciate some thank you once in a while.
Hey, I appreciate watching Who Killed Captain Alex. That was actually a good movie. I want to watch The Fanatic because I assume that's going to be just as good of a fucking movie.
No. Who Killed Captain Alex was an amazing movie. Okay? It was an experience like no other.
Exactly.
And these guys again, what the hell?
I know, they're pretty fucking annoying, especially since he spawned when I was on the elevator, so he's slightly off center from I can aim my shields.
I'm talking about the floating heads.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He spawned in such a way that I was still on the elevator, so he spawned at that elevation rather than the elevation I was supposed to be at.
That is one trend of old school gaming that it's probably good that it died. The teleporting enemies. Oh my god, just move!
Yeah, well, the problem with these teleporting enemies is that,
SN has not learned to walk away from a bad relationship yet.
No, the reason I haven't walked away from it is because I want the experience. You know, you don't just walk away from a bad relationship. You have to get even in a bad relationship. But, no, the problem with those teleporting guys is that, they have to teleport very close to you because of, if they don't, then, they teleport away too fast for you to hit them. And the other problem is that, their attack is that they shoot a little fireball that crawls along the ground. So that's very easy to fucking hit you if you're close to them. So it's like a lose-lose situation.
In moments like this, I'm upset that I wish Cal was here.
Yeah. But he's a busy man, so it's sad. Nope. Was that my last life?
At least you got.
Nope, I got one more. Yay.
At least you got the flute.
Yeah, I got the flute, and that is a important item that we need to use twice, I think. Once to get into a dungeon, and once to get by a big squid monster. Don't ask.
Let's ask Alan more about the meaning of the squid monster.
So the squid monster represents the paths that one can take, starting at a central point, and then depending on their actions, they can fractal into different locations that can affect the universe.
I thought the squid monster represented man's general discomfort with female sexuality, because it looks like a vagina.
Oh, I thought where you were going with that is that it represents man's sexual frustration because the Japanese have laws about showing genitalia, but not
tentacles.
Not tentacles that look like penises.
Yes. I remember like when Zack Snyder made the Watchmen movie.
Oh yeah, and
a lot of really die-hard Alan Moore Watchmen. Alan Moore Sims. It's the main thing. It's not even Watchmen fans. It's Alan Moore Sims got really upset that they changed the ending, that replaced the squid monster with the missiles emulating Dr. Manhattan's power.
Yeah, I will admit I was upset about that, mostly because it completely contextualizes the situation, because instead of making it so that way it's a threat that is unlikely to repeat, it made it so that way, it was blamed on Dr. Manhattan, therefore all they have to do, humanity, is to look on Mars and realize that Dr. Manhattan is not there. Because that was the last time anyone saw Dr. Manhattan. He was on Mars. So... I mean,
not really. They know what a Dr. Manhattan is. First of all, looking at Mars is not that easy. Especially in 1985. Second, Dr. Manhattan can be anywhere. Like he can do this basically like as close to it's basically omnipotent god as you can get in the comics universe, and is aside from the actual god in the Marvel comics.
Well, you mean DC because Watchmen is a DC property.
Yeah, but like. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm talking like in comics in general. Like in Marvel there is literal like the god of the multiverse, like the all power the creature called the One Above All, which is basically like the all powerful ruler of the multiverse.
Oh, I thought that was what's his fuck name, Kane or whatever it is from the Loki show. That was the villain.
Yeah. Oh god. That is going somewhere, right?
He's been a villain in a few movies, but he's been immediately defeated because he's apparently some guy, even though he has the power to traverse the multiverse or some shit.
He also has been a villain outside of the movies.
I haven't heard anything about that. Actually, scratch that. I heard a little bit about that, but I just heard that apparently he was a big, stinky butt face, and I don't actually know what crimes he committed. I just know he's an
to
asshole.
put it. That's one way to put it.
Yeah,
But
the
yeah,
only guy that I know of who was in the superhero movies who's a colossal cunt, whose crimes I do know, is the guy who played the Flash in the Zack Snyder movies.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Ruffalo is also a colossal cunt. He just has not committed any crimes yet. But anyway.
Well, who's that guy? Is he the guy who played Kane, or whatever that black guy is from Loki?
The Hulk. He's played the Hulk. Mark Ruffalo. Giant cunt. Anyway, going back to the squid. Yeah, like, yeah, a lot of people were really upset that they replaced the squid, but and then I was like I was listening to professors and the guy where they were discussing that, like, and they were discussing like, oh, can you actually explain to the audience, because they were all in agreement that is a big no to take out the squid. And it's like, why is a big no to replace the squid? Why it's such a problem? Well, you see, in the 80s, Richard Nixon made this speech saying that that only like an extraterrestrial threat could get the United States and the Soviet Union to unite. So that is why, and that is what the squid references to, and that's why it's such a big problem to take the squid out of the historical context of the comics. Oh, so the importance of the squid is a bit of a historical trivia that even most fans of the comics don't know about. So yeah, okay, I'm on the side of Zack Snyder right now. Yeah, take out the squid.
Well, no, I would still say you should still have the squid, because the idea is that, the idea behind the alien is that it's something that humanity cannot reasonably, reason with. Like, it just sort of teleported in and just fucked all of New York. Dr. Manhattan can potentially be reasoned with, so that's a big problem right there.
But I think the main idea is that it's a threat that is so dangerous to humanity as a whole that if turned against humanity, is so dangerous that it would get like the two superpowers superpowers allegedly, because yeah, a lot of the I think a lot of the the context of things in Watchmen gets a pass because of like hindsight bias. Because people at the time were not as aware of how much of a paper tiger the Soviet Union was. Because the Soviet Union, like, they put up a front to the international community as being a lot more stable and powerful than they actually were. So that's really where Watchmen gets a lot of leeway. If made nowadays, the Watchmen would not have as much to get away with, because nowadays people know that the Soviet Union was like hanging on a thread. At least most people know. There's people stupid enough to believe that it was a good thing.
Yeah, but like I said, I think the point of the whole squid was that it was a threat that humanity doesn't know about and could never know about, because it was essentially made up by Ozymandias. And they had to prepare for this threat if it were to actually come. Like the squid could be considered like a scout, for example, who just fucked up on the landing, so to speak. Dr. Manhattan, making it so that it was him, it's sort of like, okay, why did he just blow up cities instead of just blowing up the planet? Because that's a power that's well within his capabilities. Yeah. Like, that's a problem with Zack Snyder as well, is that he doesn't understand power scaling. So, like,
well, for example... To be fair, neither does Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Because if you think about about the amount of power that there was in the hands of Dr. Manhattan, and which was of the knowledge of the American government at the time, when Manhattan was still collaborating with the U.S. government, there's actually no reason why the Cold War would still be happening. I mean, it was completely within the powers of the U.S. government to just tell Manhattan to just end the Cold War, basically destroy the Soviet Union within like a matter of days at most.
True, but at the same time, Dr. Manhattan had that philosophy where he was a passive observer of the passage of time. Like, he felt that he could not interfere with things. Which, depending on...
I mean, he had the capability of seeing into the future, but chose not to interfere. Which doesn't change the fact that it was very much within his power to just end the Cold War immediately, and there is no logical reason why the U.S. government couldn't use that. They knew about his powers, like they knew the dude was basically capable of being anywhere he wanted, in like multiple times, like being in multiple places at once with conscience. So why not use that power to just destroy the Soviet Union and like just destroy it from within in like, I don't know.
Because the reason for it is because Dr. Manhattan became disassociated with humanity. He was just focusing on his own stuff, kind of thing, like his.
But that is an issue. But that is an issue with Manhattan.
Yeah, that's an issue with Manhattan, and that's something that's specifically referenced in the comics and the movie from the comedian.
Yeah, here's the point. Manhattan, like up to the end of this, the beginning of the comics, he was willing to collaborate with to do the U.S. government bidding for really stuff that logically had no bearing to him personally, like going to the comedian's funeral. That was exclusively like an assignment that was done to him, that was given to him for a matter of optics from the U.S. government. For Dr. Manhattan itself, it meant nothing.
No, I think for that was sort of like, oh, we work together, so it's like, this is what humans do. They kind of go to people's funerals if they're friends or work together. Say what you want about their relationship, but it was sort of like, that's how I viewed it. I don't see how the government was like, oh, you need to go to this funeral, especially since that was never mentioned in the comics.
I think they do mention that it was a thing, that was an assignment made that the government made for gave him, like for the sake of optics you need to go to the funeral.
I don't believe so, especially considering that Dr. Manhattan, or not Dr. Manhattan, the comedian, even by public standards, was not liked at all. Like, there were scenes of him, like, shooting, the protesters, because they were getting uppity during the police riots.
Yeah, I mean, he was not liked by a lot of the people who knew him personally, but he was still one of these, him and Manhattan were still, like, the only ones who were still sanctioned by the only heroes who were still sanctioned by the government to operate.
The comedian, because he worked directly with them as like an assassin and shit like that. Dr. Manhattan, because they needed to keep him under wraps and control.
Yeah, because he was an omnipotent being who was still doing their beating.
But yeah,
I'm just saying, like, it was very. I just think that it was in general very silly of the. Like, it is a point that I don't think is properly explained in the comment. Why don't they use Manhattan's power to just end the Soviet Union? They know he can do it.
Again, it could be, I know you said the whole, it was, when it comes to, like, what people knew about, the Soviet Union in hindsight versus back in the 80s. It could have been one of those situations where the government, like, let's say, for example, they sent Dr. Manhattan to infiltrate Moscow and figure out what's going on there. If they managed to send Dr. Manhattan over there, that would be very obvious of the U.S. Like being in Russian territory for like spy reasons.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean,
sort of like then that would make the Cold War hot kind of thing.
But I mean, if they just send like a, well, that was a good, well spent life, huh?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to end this video because that's where I decided to cut it right at a game over. So good on me.
Right as I was about to point flaws in your argument, dick.
Yep, get fucked. Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Have a nice night.